So now we're coming to a new part of the evening. We're trying something new. We're going to have a panel, and this is the welcome to the lecturers and the academics, and I'm going to introduce you to the program coordinators who are responsible for various programs that we teach, and their stand-ins, because we've even got a head of department coming tonight. So the first person, I'm going to ask them to stand up and introduce themselves, and then to come up to the podium so that they can be part of the panel. So first representative is Professor Lance Fisher. He is the head of the Department of Economics, and he's standing in for Michael Dobie, who usually runs the program.
Thank you for coming this evening. If you have any questions about the MEC or any programs to do with economics, I'll gladly discuss that with you, and I'll answer any good questions. So thank you.
Wonderful. And our second speaker is Associate Professor Max Tarney. Is Max? Is he? He's not here. Oh, okay. He's the Master of Commerce, but there are other people here that can speak about the Master of Commerce. Dr. Robert Jack from my department, who is the caretaker of the Master of International Business.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Rob Jack, and I'm glad to answer any questions that you may have about the MIB, so please feel free to ask whenever I want to.
Wonderful. And our other two representatives are Associate Professor David Pitt. I know he's here.
Yeah, I'm David Pitt. I can answer any questions you have on actuarial studies. So we have two programs, Master of Actuarial Practice, and also within the Master of Commerce we have an actuarial specialisation. So if you like your numbers, you can have a chat with me about that one.
Thank you. And last but not least, Associate Professor Rajni Malla for postgrad programs in accounting. Yes?
Thank you, and thanks for your presence here. I'm sure I'll be of help today to help you in answering questions related to all the postgrad programs in accounting. So feel free to ask whatever you need to ask, and I'll talk more on the postgrad programs related to accounting and corporate governance later today. Thank you.
It's a big step. Okay, so we need to turn off the...
This will be turned off.
And your turn. Thanks. I have technological difficulties. I need help. Okay, so this is an opportunity for you to ask questions of the different speakers, but I might just get the ball rolling while you think of a question, and I'm going to put Lance on the hot seat, so to speak. Can you tell us what sort of jobs somebody with a master's in economics can apply for and do?
One thing about economics which distinguishes it from business programs is that economics looks at public policy. It has a public policy perspective. So we do talk about various types of issues like unemployment, trade, and how these things affect well-being or welfare of the community or the society. So unlike a lot of business programs, there is a public policy perspective or a public policy point of view when we discuss economics. So that lends itself to, in many cases, working for the government. So a lot of the jobs for economists are with the Reserve Bank, which focuses on monetary policy, the control of inflation in particular. Other jobs are in Canberra, mainly at the Treasury, the Bureau of Statistics. Again, it's coming from that training of having a public policy perspective. There are also jobs with the New South Wales government as well. So because economics has that kind of dimension, it does lend itself to jobs in the public sector. However, a lot of our economics graduates also study financial economics, econometrics, finance. So quite a few of our graduates also go into the private sector. And in the private sector, they would probably analyse economic and financial data as their first starting job. So they'll have the kind of like the technical skills and the number skills to do that. So I suppose there is a little bit of an overlap with finance graduates. Some people who do economics at Macquarie Uni also take finance and econometrics together. So they could get a job in the private sector. But there's a lot of our graduates that also like public policy, and they're attracted to jobs in the government sector.
Thank you. I know there are a lot of you here that are interested in accounting, corporate governance and actuarial studies, so I'm going to allow you to ask those representatives questions. But before we do, I'll just ask Rob to tell us about the new Master of International Business online. And if you could tell us what's the difference between the face-to-face and online versions.
Thanks, Lucy. The MIB will actually be available to take online from first semester next year. And the MIB is quite unique in that it's actually available at 2 physical locations. The MIB is offered at our city campus in Sydney CBD, as well as the main study being here at North Ryde. And from first semester next year, it will be available online. So all the core units that make up the Masters of International Business, and there are 6 core units after the gateway units, or the prereq units as we sometimes call them, all of those are being developed this semester to be deliverable online, which means that we actually have a complete external offering for the MIB, which will really enhance its flexibility. So there'll be no need when you enrol in the MIB from next year. You'll have the option of whether you actually want to study it externally via the online method, or whether you want a traditional face-to-face in-class environment.
Thank you, Rob. So I might open it up to questions. Are there any questions from the floor? Anybody? Yes?
Rob, can I ask you, are you able to blend components of the online with the face-to-face, or it's one or t'other?
I think at this stage it'll be one or the other. There might be the flexibility of being able to pick up a particular online unit and at the same time take another unit face-to-face. We haven't had any enrolments in that yet because it won't kick in until next year. But I think they'll be encouraged to actually choose a selection. But I think if you wanted to do, let's say, 3 units first semester face-to-face, and then circumstances change, you want to do your remaining core units online, there would be the flexibility to do that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, Nata.
Can you hear me? You can? Oh, good.
Yeah.
This is a question a lot of students, or a lot of you guys asked me while I was talking to you, so I thought I'd raise it since you're shy. A lot of students are asking, what's the difference between Masters of Accounting Professional and Masters of Accounting CPA Extension? What are the differences? Obviously units, but in the outcome, what's the difference?
Okay, so I'd like to answer that. Now, firstly, looking into Master of Accounting Professional. A Master of Accounting Professional is basically for those who are not specifically graduates in accounting. They are coming from another discipline, and they want to get admission into CPA or ICAA. So that is the program, that's the pathway for you getting into the Master of Accounting Professional, which is generally 1.5 year program. And then moving to Master of Accounting CPA Extension. This is 2.5 year program where you do the Master of Accounting professional courses, and together with that, you take up the CPA units, which are the 4 core units and 2 elective. So at the end of the program, you have got your Master of Accounting and as well as your CPA. Now, when we talk about CPA extension is referring to doing CPA through Macquarie University, which is like Macquarie University is a registered tuition provider for CPA courses. So you do your formal final exam with the CPA, and then you have the components assessments through Macquarie University. So what comes up when we grade or provide a grade to you, which means the university is providing a grade to the CPA units, it consists of 70% component related to Macquarie University and 30% comes from the CPA final exam. Definitely, I know there'll be a lot of questions related to this later on, but yes, reflecting back on what has been one of the most common questions that has been asked by the students intending to enroll in the postgraduate accounting program is definitely the difference between Master of Accounting Professional and Master of Accounting with CPA extension.
And how long does it take to complete these programs?
Master of Accounting Master of Accounting Professional full-time takes 1.5 years because you have to do 12 core units, 4 gateway and 8 core units. And when we talk about Master of Accounting CPA extension, that takes 2.5 years because you complete your Master of Accounting Professional in 1.5 years, and then 1 year it takes for you to complete your CPA units.
And are there any internships or work experience available?
We are looking into the internships with regards to the postgrad. It was in the system, and then definitely our department is looking into internship. It is something which will be there for the students quite very soon.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Anybody else?
With regards to the international business management, with regards to the international
Yes.
business management, I just want to know whether do we have those internship options, and again, is there any specialization within that international business management?
Well, the Masters of International Business is based around the 6 core units that you're required to do within the master's degree. Okay, you will have the option of doing 2 electives. Now, those elective units can allow you to do a specialisation. You have a very, very wide range of elective options to choose from. So for argument's sake, if you wanted to extend your expertise, let's say from international accounting, which is one of the core units in the MIB, into some additional accounting units as electives, you could do that. If you wanted to extend perhaps your marketing expertise, because one of the core units is international marketing, to additional couple of marketing units, you can do that. In regard to internships, everyone at postgraduate level has the option of picking up an internship unit. And we've had a number of students over the last couple of years who've done the MIB who've been placed in internships in various organisations. Now, some of them have been government-based organisations, like for argument's sake, the Australian Export Council. We've had internships over the last couple of years at the Australia-China Business Council. We've had them, I think, at the Australia and Latin American Business Council, as well as in selected firms. Okay, so the internship option is there, but you'd actually do it as a subject, if that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
so it'd be one of the elective subjects that you would do.
Okay, so that would be for each and every student who's studying, but it's
They'd-
not like based on a GPA or something else.
There'd be specific requirements that you'd have to meet, you'd have to check what they are, so it wouldn't be automatically available to every student. But the option of doing it is there, yes, yes. And in the MIB, of course, you've got 2 electives, so that would be one of your electives.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have another question up the back there.
Yeah, I just want to ask about the CPA extension. You mentioned the Master in Professional. It's if you come from the different background, but how if you come from if you have a accounting degree but from overseas? So do you still need say like 2.5 years to finish with the CPA extension?
Okay, as I've said, that Master of Accounting Professional, you don't have to do an undergrad, don't have to have an undergrad accounting degree. However, if you have an undergrad accounting degree, yes, you can go and apply for exemptions. Chances are you might be getting some units exempted, and therefore that will help you to speed up your process of getting Master of Professional Accounting. So that will be considered, so you can go and apply for exemptions.
The other question is there any limit, like if I'm working at the moment and I just want to take it part-time, I don't want to take it full-time, is there any time limit that I have to finish the whole thing?
With regards to, like, you can always take the program as a part-time, And then of course you will be like full year is 1.5 years, so part-time will basically double. And then further details will come up as based on your circumstances, things might change. So definitely yes, you can take up as a part-time program.
But there's no time limit, it's depends on the situations.
As I said, full-time, 10 years.
Yeah, right. Okay, we have another question here.
I've got a question for Rob,
Yes.
possibly the simple question that Lucy asked Lance as well. What sort of roles can the individuals target after finishing the Masters of International Business?
Well, to some extent, it really depends on the reason why the student wants to do this particular degree. MIB is a little bit different from some of the other vocational degrees. It's more or less marketed and deliberately set up to be a fairly broad degree. So the essential skills that you pick up are specifically around some key business activities in accounting, in marketing, in financial management, and how they are affected when the firm or the organisation that you works with internationalises or further expands its internationalisation. And at the same time, you've got a couple of broader units around general issues of managing diversity and around global strategy, okay, which are valuable. Now, how you make use of that to some extent can vary. Now, for argument's sake, in the core unit that I ran in the MIB this semester, I had a number of students whose backgrounds, undergraduate backgrounds, were in science and medicine, and that's quite common, and engineering. So they've got a very different qualification in a completely different discipline. But their aim is one of two things. They're either looking at establishing their own business, which will be international in focus, so they want to actually know, how do I undertake international business? Trade regulations, strategy, marketing strategies, etc. And at the same time, individuals who, within their specific discipline, may want to work with multinational corporations within that area, who are looking for people who have the vocational qualification in engineering, science or medicine that's required, but also the additional expertise in a management role to perhaps assist in the management of the firm's international process or further internationalisation. So a lot of it can depend in that area. We have a lot of students that go on into managerial and consulting roles in organisations. Some prefer to go down a path of wanting to work with large established international firms that are looking for the types of soft skills that Gerard actually mentioned in his address, in terms of the ability to work together with a diverse team and have an understanding of some of the key aspects of firm activities that change as they internationalise. At the same time, we've got a lot of students who are actually from a background of family firms. So they're actually being trained to inherit or run a family firm back in their home country that is looking to expand internationally. So they want to get those particular skills which are going to actually apply at a much broader level to an actual business in full. And then we have students who have no interest in working in the private sector, but prefer to work perhaps with trade organisations, etc., where having an understanding of business activities and trade-related activities is very important. So the idea with the MIB is that it is deliberately fairly broad. You can certainly make it specific depending on what your background is, and particularly with the electives that you may want to do, which might give you that extra bit of expertise.
Thank you.
Actually, I've got a question for accounting. Currently, I work as an intern in a tiny small company, but I'm pretty happy for my experience because I could learn a lot of things like tax and MYOB and how to set up business. But for some of my friends as intern, they can only face the computer for every day, and I only do the data entry job. I was thinking that maybe in the future I'm gonna change a job. So I'm really interested in investment, and I don't want to face the computer every day. I want to do something more interesting and communicate with people. So I would like to ask your advice. So which kind of job can I apply?
So sorry, maybe I couldn't get you in terms of your qualification. So
I have already graduated from undergraduate degree in professional accounting in Macquarie University.
okay, so you have got an undergrad accounting degree,
Yeah.
and you're not happy currently with the job you're doing.
Actually, I'm really happy with the job I'm doing because I can learn a lot of things like superannuation, income tax, MYOB, how to set up business, and actually my boss even invited me to attend some seminars and to meet the clients. I'm really happy for that. But for most of my friends who do the intern, they can only do the data entry, and it's really boring, like accounts payable, accounts receivable. So
Perhaps you might have that conversation offline later on.
I'm sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. But you might be able to give
Yes.
more advice on a personal level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So that's absolutely fine. Before I wind this up, yes, I'm going to ask David if he can tell us a little bit about the Masters of Applied Finance and how different is it from other degrees?
So within the Department of Applied Finance and Actuarial Studies, we have a Master of Applied Finance program, which is very, very successful here at Macquarie University and quite different to, say, a Master of Commerce with a specialisation in finance. Different in a few ways. First up, we require students coming into that program to have 2 years of work experience in the area of applied finance. And the reason for that is that the program is very applied, and the kind of discussions and the group dynamic that you have in the classes really requires you, gives you a real advantage if you've had that kind of work experience previously. So it's a degree program that is 2 years part-time, 1 year if you take it full-time, but the majority of the students in that program are doing it part-time, and while they've had experience, they are continuing with that experience throughout the program. Another really unique feature of the Master of Applied Finance program is that all of the electives that are taught within that program, which are the vast majority of the subjects taught within that program, are taught by people with significant industry experience at very, very senior levels in top organisations here in Sydney and around the world. It's a program that's flexible. You can take classes here in Sydney, there are places in Melbourne, you can take classes in Singapore and also in centres in China. And so it's very flexible, and it's a great opportunity for networking with others who are have a similar background to you and a similar interest to take their career to the next stage.
Thank you, David. We might thank all our panel members now. Now I need a little bit of help, technical, press the button help. Which button do I press for the last few slides? Thank you. Thank you, panel members. These are my colleagues. They're wonderful colleagues. They'll welcome you with open arms if you come to study here. Thank you again. Okay, so I'm just going to sum up with a few points about what is attractive about studying, doing a master's here. I think the critical point, and this has been raised already, is that it's open to non-business students. We have these gateway units that a number of people have mentioned that allows people that have undergraduate degrees in other areas, geography or arts, to be quickly introduced to specific disciplinary areas so that they can move into a new career path. Credit is also available for relevant prior studies, as was noted earlier. And we also have flexible study options, as was mentioned. You can study full-time, you can study part-time, day, night, and increasingly online. We have a careers service that offers postgraduate students a dedicated staff member to deal with specific career development needs, including access to a career hub, a career service website, There's an online jobs board. There's workshops on interviewing skills, online applications, psychometric tests, and seminars on a whole range of things, including job search, writing CVs and the like. We're really committed at Macquarie to supporting our students, and that's just one example. Another, as has been mentioned by our speakers, is study abroad, the study abroad option, which is a fabulous opportunity, as Jared was mentioning, and also internships, as Rob mentioned. We also have fee help available to students. This is a loan system to assist those that are eligible with the payment of their tuition fees. And advice on this and calculating the cost of your program and so on is available from the Graduate Centre. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. The final thing that I'd like to say is that it's very accessible. You all found your way here through the traffic, on the public transport. The train, of course, is very close to us, and that makes it very attractive. And of course, we also have low-cost parking available and a library that is open till all hours. Oops. Okay, so the critical thing is that you can apply online free now. This is the ad. But I'm also telling you because I was asked, can people still apply for second semester? And the answer is yes, up until I think it's the 20th. Sorry? Yes? Okay. So the really important people here, other than the teachers, are the staff from what's known as the Business and Economics Graduate Centre, or what we call BEGC. It's located in our building, the faculty building, E4A, level 2, and they have a lot of skilled advisors to help you. And can I have hands up from the BEGC tonight? Thank you. Yes, they're very helpful. So I encourage you to seek them out. So that wraps up our general discussion, and I invite you to go to the people that are not yet at these tables, but they will be very soon, to talk to you about any issues that you want addressed, any questions that you have, and we also can address your issues and questions by email. So I'd just like to thank you all for coming out. It's cold out there and windy. We appreciate your interest, and we look forward to talking to you some more now at the desk. So thanks again.